you've had a long-term interest in the role of women in Kuwait, the political dynamic that has emerged with women becoming more activist in Kuwait. When I was there, I always was struck by how successful Kuwaiti women were in almost every field in which they entered, and how educated they were, and how their level of achievement was very high. And when they finally got the vote in 2005, it was almost sort of icing on the cake. It wasn't. It was a right that that was one of the few they didn't have already, or at least an activity that they were denied. But they weren't denied much else, it seemed to me. But how would you evaluate these days the role of women in politics in Kuwait?
Well, I think I would disagree with you a little bit on Kuwaiti women having every right. There are still very large stumbling blocks that have to do with personal status laws that I think still loom very large in Kuwait. You don't see this very much, and just from the surface, but they're very, very important, and they limit a lot of what women can do. Another thing that to me was maybe not so surprising as it might have been, is that Kuwaiti women are Kuwaitis, and Kuwaitiness really does trump gender. Kuwaiti women in politics behave just like Kuwaiti men in politics. So you've got really forthright, honest, exemplary women, and you've got women who are not forthright, honest, and not particularly above board in what they're doing. I think that the combination of the personal status laws and a decision that was made by those first 4 women who were elected in 2009 not to focus on a feminist agenda. Women at this point, the women who have gotten into power don't seem like advocates for women's rights or family rights or things that many Kuwaitis expected them to push for. So in a way, they've taken themselves out of being gender representatives, and they are going to have to fight as Kuwaitis. And there, they have these stumbling blocks that come into effect because they are women, there are different expectations, there are limits on what they can do, however tacit they may be. So I think the struggle is going to be very much as it was here. We had women in the Congress very early on after the vote, and it took Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas to really get people to take a look at how disadvantaged women were.